I am thankful to have connected with you on this podcast. I want to ask you a favor. Please do subscribe, and by doing that, you help us to bring on many wonderful guests that we can all learn from, grow, and make an impact. Welcome to Immigrants Making an Impact. Today, we are excited to have Karen Mustoning on the call to tell her about her immigrant story, the impact that she's making, and all that good stuff. Karen, take us away.
Thank you. Hi, good morning. My name is Karen Mustoning, and I am an immigrant in America. I came to America when I was 18 years old to go to culinary school. I was supposed to stay for 2 years because that's what my visa said. At the end of my 2 years of my schooling, I wasn't finished with my schooling, so I had to continue without any paperwork. And when I went to get my paperwork extended, my visas extended, the U.S. government would not. So I had to be under the radar, and suddenly I was illegal. I was homeless and an immigrant. I moved from Vermont. I moved from Trinidad to Vermont. And then from Vermont, I moved to New York City. And that's where I got my job as an illegal immigrant working in a kitchen. I also didn't know that I was Black until I came to this country. I didn't know that was a thing. I was a kid who grew up in an island that everybody was just people. And, we all had the same values and same, love of God, love of family. That was important. When I came here, I realized that I was Black, and that forever changed the way I look at things or see things or feel about myself. That really rocked me. I worked in kitchens in New York City. I worked in Toronto, Canada. I've worked in Miami, in Pennsylvania, and in Finland. Yes, from New York City, I got married to a young man, a Finn, and we've been married for 34 years now. We moved to Finland. We couldn't find a job. We couldn't find jobs there or whatever, so we moved back to the U.S. Then I worked in kitchens again, and from there I started going to school, and I became a substitute teacher for about 8 years. And then I got my bachelor's, I got my master's, then I got my doctorate. And now I've been a teacher for 21 years now. The kid who was homeless and illegal is now a teacher. And when I became a teacher, I felt like I won the lotto, the wow factor for me, to change lives and see my kids grow up. Because I have my kids, I'm a baking instructor at a local Votech. So I teach my kids how to bake, how to make pastries, how to bake cakes, how to decorate cakes. And I had them for 3 to 4 years. So I really get to know who they are. And it's funny because tonight is graduation, and I'm so excited. I have 10 seniors this year. It's been a whirlwind for me now I think I've come full circle. It's just amazing. I have 3 children. My son is a West Point grad. My daughter lives in Finland. The youngest one lives in Finland, and the oldest one lives in South Carolina with my 3 granddaughters. So life is good. Being an immigrant is not easy, but I didn't choose to be an immigrant, if you know what I mean. It just happened. And it's just like, when it happens to you, you step back and say, well, what now? How do I fix this? How do I move forward? Can I move forward? But yeah, that was 35 years ago, and life goes on, but it's been amazing. What can I say? Life hasn't always been easy, but I've survived, and it's just been an amazing road. Can't complain.
That is beautiful. I love the way that you have taken us through 35 years ago up until now, all the struggles and perseverance and resilience and patience. Phenomenal. But give us the details because we want to learn, Karen. You talked about becoming homeless and you came so that you could go to college.
Yes.
So after college, that is when you became illegal, right?
Yes.
And then you had to travel to another city, another state.
Yes, I went to New York. Yes.
And that's where you found working in the kitchen. How was it like? And what are some of the experiences you had that you felt like you were Black?
That happened at school, actually. I was standing I remember in the hallway of my dorm, and one of the advisors said to me, "So how does it feel to be the first Black woman on campus?" And it took me aback because I had never heard that comment before towards myself, And then I realized, oh my God, I'm Black. I didn't know what that meant. I had friends growing up in Trinidad who were Chinese, who were white, who were Indian, and we were all kids. It wasn't a color issue, and that never came about until that day. And that forever changed the way I became so aware of who I am and what I am to other people. Because I think, like, for example, I don't feel beautiful when I'm here, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very cautious. I am very, I don't know, I want to help people, but I'm always afraid to what they would think or what they would say or what they would, they think that I want something from them. And that's never the case. You have to be very, at least here in America, it's very black and white, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, I don't understand it myself. I don't know why it isn't a big deal. For example, a white person, although I'm qualified, I have my doctorate, whole 9 yards. Who do I think I am? A white person will get a job over me, less qualified than me, but they will get a job over who I am. Because of the way I look. For example, at my school, there's 2 women of color who are teachers. And I think once we retire, that would be no more. Because I think we were accidents that happened there. I love my job. I love my kids, my students, and they're very diverse. And the reason I do what I do or did my education is to show them that they can become whatever they want to become in their lives, and that they have people who support them and who love them and who look like them, and it's okay. You know, it's been a struggle. Even when I was getting my education in higher ed, I had many professors tell me that I should stop. I don't belong here. And this is the 2000s. It's not like we're in the 1800s or whatever. And I had one professor fail me 3 times, and he couldn't give me an answer. Nobody at the university will talk to me or even look at me or even respond to my emails. And you wonder, why? Why is this happening? Even at my own school, I try to be a part of the community. I try to do all this stuff, but it's never received in a positive light. I became a yoga teacher so I can build community at my school. I teach yoga after school. Well, I did teach yoga after school, and hopefully I'll start back when school starts again in the fall. But it's always a struggle. They always so cautious, and they want to know why you're doing this. What's the motive behind it? It's very interesting. For example, in 2012, I was at school one day, and I was taken out of my class, and I didn't know for 6 weeks what I had done. I was accused of stealing money, and it took me 22 months to get my job back. Although after the police department found me not guilty or they couldn't find anything that I had done wrong. My school still fired me, and after that it took me 22 months to get my job back. And it's always been a struggle. And the fear of I'm a teacher. I don't work in in like the CIA or whatever, I'm just a teacher. But the fear of going to work has always been there for me. And the fear of one day I'd go to work and people look the other way when something happened to me, that happened. When it happened to me, no one at school would talk to me. No one. Not even the union who's supposed to represent me and help me. And that was 10 years ago that happened. I lost my job in 2012. I went back to school in 2014. We went to arbitration and I won because I had done nothing wrong. But they didn't care. They knew who had done who had stolen the money, but they wanted me to be gone. And they thought that I wouldn't fight or I would just walk away. But no, 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 no. I have worked too hard to get to where I am, to get my name, and no one is going to take that away from me. No one. And my goal is to become a director of a career and technical school one day. Yes, I'm old and 55 years old, but so what? I have so much to offer. I'm so excited about the future and about the kids and everything else. I love what I do. It's fun. My kids are the best part of my job. They make me smile. I learn from them. We learn from each other. And it's always a give and take because my philosophy on education is that no one can learn from you unless a relationship that's built. We respect each other. We love each other. We are kind to each other. And my classroom should be a very safe place for any child to come into. And to me, that's the most important thing. I do my best to every class I get that they know who I am. They know what I stand for. They know I'm there to support them, to love them, to help them in any way I can. Because that's why I'm there. And I teach for free if I had to, and I have. The time I was out from school, I was working in another VOTEC for free, and it was amazing, totally amazing. Because you see the smiles in them, you see them you see the kids say, "Wow, somebody thinks that I can do this." The support, and the love is very important. And that's my immigrant story. When I got married to my husband, he's from Finland, by the way. I was gonna make us a success because neither of us, our parents, have college degrees. I was the first one to go to school and get a college degree, and I made up my mind that my kids were going to be successful too. And when my son got into West Point, it was like the wow factor because we knew nothing about West Point. We were immigrants. What do we know? You know. And he got into West Point, and he's an amazing young man. And my youngest one, she's in Finland. She's getting her degree there. And my oldest one is in South Carolina with my 3 granddaughters. And everybody's doing fine. And we're just poor people who worked hard, and we believe in a system, and we believe that we can do this. And again, I go back to my roots. Every step of the way, God has been there for me. I say that with every part of my being. My father's a praying man, and his prayers will last me and love will last me the rest of my life. And that's important to me. Very important. My dad died 5 years ago, and God, I miss him. But his love and his prayers will last me and my family the rest of our lives. It's so important to us. And the funny thing was, when I was going to come to culinary school from Trinidad, my dad was the biggest joke of our village. Because we live in a small village, and people were like, "You send your daughter to learn to cook? How stupid is that?" You know. But thank God my dad never wavered. He believed in me. He believed in what I wanted to do, and he supported me 110% always. Because my mother's family, they were all doctors, except for my mother, and they thought that that was the stupidest thing he would ever do. But he never listened to them, thank God. And he always supported me. No matter, he may not have always agreed with me, but he's always supported me. And I think once you come to a different country, you want to make the best because of the sacrifices your parents have made for you. And you never want to let them down. You never want to disappoint them in any way. Because my uncle, actually, a family member told my dad that I'll come to America and I'll end up in a strip club as a dancer. And he never wavered because he knew who I was. He knew who he had raised, and he knew everything he had, put into me. And that was very, very important. And he and I had a really good relationship. I mean, amazing relationship. As a little girl, I remember feeling like a princess because my dad was who he was. And he was a truck driver, but he made me feel that I could be and do anything I want. And I was beautiful. I was special. I was smart. I was daddy's girl. And he was my rock, always been my rock. And because of the parent he was, I became the parent that I am. And I think I supported my children with everything they need to do. I've always been there. I will always continue to be there for them. They know where I am. And life is good. I can't complain. Like I said, it has not been easy, but I've learned so much and I've become so much stronger. And I'm not the little girl from the little village anymore. I am a different person, a better person. And one thing I have to add is that the village I come from is called Esperance, which means hope. So I always have hope that life will get better. And to me, that's so important.
You've made me speechless, Karen. Thank you for the impact that you are making, the significant impact that you are making in your community against all odds. I would say that my condolence on the loss of your dad.
Thank you.
Wherever he is, he's cheering you on. He has just transitioned to the next level, to a greater awareness. And one day we will all get to see him again, because for us in Christ, we will see him again. So he's your angel and he is with you always.
Always, I agree.
I am mesmerized about the fact that you said, I'm honestly having goosebumps about the fact that you said you would still work for free no matter what. And I think that you are operating in your purpose. And it took you a long while to get here. And what I'm learning is that your perseverance, your having hope and the support, and also, knowing that this opportunity that your dad gave to you, you held on to it and you did your best and you are still doing your best. Our community, we do have a lot to learn from you. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you. Thank you. One thing I have to add is that you stood against all odds. When I graduated from high school, that was my class our motto, against all odds.
Oh.
And I didn't know what I meant at the time. I was a young kid, young and dumb. But my God, I've held on to that since I realized the significance of it.
So sweet and impactful. So Karen, tell us, if you would advise any immigrants, what will you tell us?
To hold on to your values, to hold on to who you are, where you come from. That's important because it's easy to get lost in the shuffle and to get lost in at least here where I live in America, it's easy to get lost in that. And as an immigrant and a parent of 3 children born here in the US, actually my oldest son was born in Trinidad. The other 2 were born here in the US. I try to hold on to our values, our core values of family, of God. But was I successful? Yes and no. But it's a struggle. But did I ever give up? No. Even is my fear is that once I die, all the all this values and all the little things will die with me, but I hope not. Because my granddaughters, I have them coming up too, the next generation. It may seem odd to your children and odd to whatever to people around you, but that's what makes you, and they can't ever take that away from you. It's so important to hold on to the little things, the traditions. That's important because it's funny because I'm going home to Trinidad in June to a Hindu wedding. My son he's going to meet me there because he's never been to one. For me, that's normal, but for him, it'll be the wow factor. And I'm so excited to share this with him. My grandmother on my mother's side was Pakistani, and my grandfather was Cantonese. So we have all these traditions and all these different foods and different ethnicities, and it's amazing. My grandmother spoke Hindi and she spoke a little Arabic, and my grandfather spoke Cantonese, sorry. We have all, but I speak any? Of course not. You know what I mean? So you hold on to the little traditions because that's what makes us us. And our families, we're very diverse. My husband's from Finland. I'm Trinidadian. My children, one was born in Trinidad, the other two were born here. And we're very global. And to me, that's very important. We understand diversity. We understand the differences in others. We embrace the differences in others. And that's huge. A lot of people are afraid of what they don't know. Mm-hmm. That's where racism comes in. And if we can break that stereotype or break that fear that we're just people just like you and we have the same needs and wants and we love just like you, we look like you, we need food, we have a home just like you, that's important. It's sad that in this day and age that racism is still a thing here in America. And it's a huge thing. I remember when we first got married and moved to where we are now, I never realized the impact that my marriage will have on society. People told me that it was immoral to be married to a white man or white man be married to a black woman or whatever. And I couldn't wrap my brain around that because he's the love of my life. He's just the guy that I married. And like I said, we've been married for 34 years now. And it has not been easy, but it's been amazing. And he will do anything for me. Because of him, I have my degrees. I went to school, he watched the kids. He never complained about anything. And he used to be a chef, now he's a truck driver. And he's not educated, like he didn't go to college, but he's the smartest man I know, just like my father. He's kind. Like I said, he will give anything for the family. A couple years ago, our daughter called him and said, I need you to help me move. And he went, he stopped, took 2 weeks off, went to Finland, helped her move, came back, no questions asked. He will give the kids the shirt off his back. And that's what he's always done for us. And I hope my children appreciate him as much as I do. And we've always been together. I mean, I met him and 5 months after we were married. And we've been together ever since. I can't imagine my life without him. For the first 3.5 years of our marriage, we were separated because of green card paperwork, that kind of stuff. I was in Trinidad, he was here, and if he said he was going to send money for the baby, that's what he did. He said he was going to call that night, that's what he did. He said he was going to come for a week, that's what he did. I mean, never missed a beat. And because of who we are and because of our, I guess, us being immigrants together, it has made our relationship and our marriage stronger because that's all we have. We only have each other. We don't have the extended family as such. And, I have a stepmother-in-law in New York and she's our family, very much so. But again, it made our marriage and our family stronger because all we have is each other. And we were able to buy a home after 5 years after we got married. We still live in the home. And the goal is for us when we retire, which has been 5 years from now, is to move to Europe, Portugal. That's the goal.
And we will gladly welcome you guys to Europe.
Thank you.
And of course, bless your husband. I mean, how would we be able to do it without our significant others who are able to support us to do the things that we love? So bless them. Bless them.
Yeah. Thank you.
Tell me about you guys moving to Finland. How was it like? And what motivated you guys to move again to become immigrants in another country and the experience?
Young and dumb. I'm sorry. Young and dumb. I always go back to that. That's one regret I have. We moved to Finland and we moved in the winter time. Oh my gosh, it was dark all the time. I had not gotten used to that. But if I had known better, if I had done my research, we would have stayed there and our kids would have been born there. I regret that with so much of my being. I was mad at my husband because the funny thing was he couldn't get a job. I was working. So what did he do? He came out to the US and left me there. And then I had to follow back to the US. I would go back over and said, one regret in my life. I want my kids, wish my kids would have been born there They would speak a different language. They would speak many languages. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But yes, that's what we did, young and dumb, with much regret. But I guess I don't know what my life would have been like there compared to here, but I think my kids would have a better life if they were in Finland. Like for example, our youngest one, when she told my husband that she was going to Finland, he didn't believe her until almost the week before she left. He was in denial because he was so humbled at the fact that she would want to go there, and she was mad at him because he didn't teach her Finnish, and she still is. But she's doing her thing, and we're so happy and so proud of her. Yeah, I guess at that time we didn't really have a choice, you know, not work. I guess have him not work there and whatever, and we weren't sure what the future would look like if we had stayed there. So we came back to America, had jobs. But at that time, he was a U.S. citizen. I was just a green card holder, and so we came back, and then I went back to work in the kitchens, and then I started the education bug hit me or bit me, as we said. And I started going back to school. I started subbing as a long-term sub in schools. And for me, like I said, it was a wow factor. I feel like I won the lotto. To become a teacher, oh my God, wow, the wow factor. Because I was always told I'll never amount to much because my parents weren't educated and we were not going to be educated either. But my father instilled in us that whatever we do, and that's one thing that somebody cannot take away from you, your education. He always said that. And my father only had a standard one or first grade reading level, but a beautiful handwriting and smart as a whip in a sense that he wasn't book smart, but he was world smart. And he always had the best answers for me, and we can talk about anything.
So, Karen, tell us what you would do if you knew you could not fail.
If I knew I could not fail, what would I do? Oh, I think for me, one thing I would redo or go back in time and do is be more present for my children. That's one thing I regret. When you're an immigrant in a foreign country with 3 children and bills to pay and things to get done and make sure that they are well taken care of, you go into the survival mode and you're work, 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 work all the time. And as long as, for me, and I apologize to my children for this, I was in this survival mode big time in the sense that as long as they had food and they had a home and they were doing well in school, I was happy. I didn't spend much time in it because I was always in school myself. Their dad was here with them, and I thought that was enough for them. And I look back now and I said, wow, that time went by so fast, and I regret so much of it. I wish I had stayed home and spent more time with them. I wish I had done more things with them. But to be the best parent, because that's the next generation. That's my future. And I wish I can go back and change some things. But I mean, they have all done well. We are proud of them, very proud of them. But yeah, being a parent like my father would be the best thing, and that would be one thing I would do if I could do anything without failure. Definitely be a best parent ever.
Thank you for that confirmation. I think that many immigrants are home taking care of their kids, and as they do it in the present, many do not realize the impact that they are making and how significant it is to be a present parent. So thank you for that confirmation.
Thank you. Thank you. You're welcome.
Tell us about the impact that you are making in your community, Karen.
My community is very small, sad to say. I go to work and I come back. I used to go to church. I don't anymore. I apologize for that. I feel really bad. My dad must be rolling in wherever he is right now. But in my school, I try to make community with everybody. Everybody knows in my school they can come to me and I will help with whatever project they're doing. I may not be involved with everything, but I'm there and everybody knows who I am. Everybody knows Doc. Some people in my school, they look at me and think, well, who do you think you are? Doesn't matter because what they do doesn't reflect who I am. It reflects who they are. And that I hold on to that very strongly and very deeply. Like I said, I became a yoga teacher. I paid for myself to become a yoga teacher so I can teach yoga to my colleagues so they can teach yoga to their students. Because since 9/11, I'm not sorry, not 9/11, since COVID, our kids have come back with a lot of anxiety, a lot of emotional issues. And we as their teacher need to be able to deal with that and deal with it for ourselves first and help each other. Because we are stronger together as a team than we are separate. And people need to realize that it's not about, hey, look what I can do. It's hey, look what we can do. Our schools need people who care about the kids, not someone who's going to collect a paycheck. We need to see the kid the whole child. What matters to them, what makes them tick, what's their favorite color, what makes them smile, what's important to them, who their parents are, where they come from. The one thing you can do for a child is make them smile. You get to know who they are. Because that you never know what the child is going through. You never ever know. If a child behaves badly or whatever, the first thing somebody is going to say is that that's a bad child. No child is ever bad. There's something behind that behavior, and you as a teacher need to figure out what that is. What that is. Talk to that child. Remember when their birthday is. Remember little things about them, and that goes a long way. You know, I have kids who were in my class 20 years ago, and we still stay in touch. At one point, they used to come to my house every the first Saturday after July 4th for a picnic. I'd provide the food, and they provide dessert. And we did it for many years until COVID hit, and then it's all stopped. Like I said, before any learning can take place, first relationship has to take place. And those relationships will last you a lifetime. It's amazing to watch them grow up, to watch them get married. The other day I went to elementary school to do a demonstration, cupcakes, and one of my former students, her children were there. So I went and I found them who they were, and I took pictures of them and sent them to her, and she was so happy. She was so happy. And we were talking about her kid coming to school, and I said, only if he wants to come to Votech, but don't force him to come. And if he comes and he doesn't want my class, that's okay. I'll be there to support him with whatever class he wants. But I'm there. I'm not going anywhere anytime soon.
Thank you for the significant impact you are making in your community, and thank you for being there for your students.
You're welcome. Anytime.
Karen, we are about to wrap up. Tell us about any projects you are doing that you want us to know about, because our community is here to support you. And where can we find you to connect with you?
Oh, my new project is I'm going to do a second master's in social and emotional learning with yoga and mindfulness included. I want to do this because, like I said, I think it's very important for our kids who have high anxiety, who have emotional trauma since COVID. And, to me, it's important, especially also to help with my colleagues. I also want to continue teaching yoga for free, because my thing is if I teach yoga, I can practice for myself even more and get even better at it. And it's been a process. I hope to grow the yoga at school. I hope to get more people involved, keep people all afraid, they're nervous. And, people can find me on LinkedIn. I guess that's the best place to find me. But I hope to continue, and I hope to grow my yoga and grow my mindfulness, and let people see that they can cope better with life once they learn these breathing techniques and that kind of stuff. And we are better when we self-care and self-love. That's the first place we need to start. And to me, that's huge. And as immigrants, we always fail to do that for ourselves because we're in the survival mode. And when you're in survival mode, you are stressed out, you're worried, you want to, because in the fall, when my kids were little, I used to go deep in depression because I was afraid that we would lose the house, the kids would go hungry, and I would lose them forever. And my God, it was a mental fight. I prayed all the time, incessantly, to God to be with me. I tried to do what was right for my kids always at that point in time as well. But I learned to self-love now, and that's very important because you can't pour from an empty cup. And as immigrants, we need to learn to do that for ourselves too. Take care of ourselves first before we can take care of our kids. We then, with that love, we grow better kids, and we grow a better future for them. And a stronger second generation or third generation.
Wonderful, Karen. So finally, please complete the sentence for us. Immigrants are?
We are beautiful, we are strong, we are resilient, and we're the best of both worlds.
Thank you so much, Karen, for coming on the show and telling us your impactful immigrant story. We have gleaned, we have learned, and we are going to persevere because you shared your story and it has motivated us. And I also want to tell you that our community is cheering you on your journey to your second master's, and we would love to hear about that very soon. So keep going and don't stop. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.